1140 The Fan.
Talkin Money.
And we're back. It's Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Yeah, how you doing? Our final segment of the week. I'm getting a little bit giddy because I think I'm going to be on vacation next week, so this is kind of wraps up my work week a little bit. I'm also getting a little bit depressed because I also said I would run the barbecue for like 100 people today at noon. It should only be like about 6,000 degrees behind the barbecue in the sun today, so I'm going to have to hook up like an IV. Crocs. Yeah, I need my Crocs. I'll go back on the roof and just throw myself off. Just get it over quicker. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Yes, we did get our quiz question. You get fined. Did you know that New England, this Middleborough, Massachusetts, is considered the cranberry capital of the world? Little known fact there, Richard. But it's also, you'll get fined $20 if you curse at the cranberry lady, because that's the fine for their civic publicly accosting another person with profanity. I'd be out about $35,000 at this point. That's just in this show. So if you're in Middleborough, Massachusetts, you might want to button it up there, or it's going to cost you a 20 spot. Off the text. Okay, Chris, I don't know. Who are the 530-957? We're going to have to give him something today. He's on it, man, on the text today. He's on it. I can't read half his stuff, but I did get the Sling Blade reference. I don't entirely disagree with that. From the 415, what's the best city in the Bay Area? Here you go. This is for you, Jeff, because you guys might know the Bay Area better than I do. What is the best city in the Bay Area closest to San Francisco that would be good for first-time buyers, home buyers?
I would say Livermore.
I was going to say Livermore too,
yeah.
Just over the hill there a little bit. And I don't know what pricing is doing in Livermore. This show gets picked up in Livermore. Actually, we got a lot of people listen to Livermore. I don't know how pricing has been in Livermore, but probably picking up, but probably still fairly good.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys doing? Is there any? Are you guys doing anything down that way?
No, we're not. We'd like to.
Yeah,
I like the East Bay Area.
Yeah, just to trying to find some raw land here.
Yeah,
we got. Let's see, Bob's got a question for us at 339-1140. Hey, Bob, welcome to Talkin Money. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call.
No problem. What's happening?
Well, I own a piece of property in Martinez that I've got a tentative map approved for either two products, 29 small single-family or 46 townhomes.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you feel the market for that type of product is coming back, or is it just strictly the single-family house market that's alive?
Well, first of all, Jeff may want to get your number because he may be interested in it. What do you see?
I might be. And I would have said Martinez is my second choice behind Livermore.
And he's from Martinez, yeah.
So, I'm a big fan of the single family in that areas versus the townhouse product. So I would tend to lean more towards that as a better investment for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can.
All right.
So how much you want, Bob, for your paper map there?
Well, I'd love to chat with them about it.
I'm going to write a number on the back of a napkin right now. We're gonna do this right now.
The first bid in
right. If you can hit it up to about seven figures, we're perfect.
Well, I can get all seven figures. Which side of the decimal point do you want them on?
Good question. I'll give you a little input. Is that the Martinez, for a first-time home buyer right now, Martinez is a phenomenal market. Livermore is fairly pricey. We do a lot of business in both those areas, and Livermore, your first-time buyer is going to spend well over $300,000 to $400,000. Martinez, there's a lot of stuff you can get closer to $2 that's pretty good.
Very good. And Bob, what do you do? What work are you in?
Well, for 3 years, we've been buying foreclosures on the courthouse steps, rehabbing and reselling. And I've done about 60 of them.
Is that how you got the tentative map also? Did you buy that or did you do that yourself?
No, I was the genius in 2005 that thought I could buy a piece of property, subdivide it, and make my retirement income. And now I'm going to get out of it and only owe a little bit.
Okay. How many acres is that for 29 lots?
Well, it's 3.3 acres, and there'll be 29 small lots. They're very small lots.
Like a zero lot line.
1,600, 1,800 square foot homes. But in Martinez, that will be worth, when those are done, probably $375, right in that ballpark.
How much?
$375,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Martinez the new stuff is fairly expensive, but you can get a lot of little properties within Martinez in the twos that I think are very nice.
So there goes my that shoots my question to folks. I was thinking, okay, do you take Bob's subdivision of 29 lots and you say, okay, let's make it 15 lots and make it really a usable lot. But if you're going to get, I mean, maybe that's my coming from Placer County and Nevada County. Thought is you got a 10,000 square foot lot is the minimum you'd look at, and so but that if they're used to it down there and you're getting that kind of price, then that might be a fairly decent deal. Hey Bob, I'll put you back. I'm going to put you back on hold, Bob. We'll give Jeff your name and number there, and then
absolutely.
My commission rate is a measly 25%. So
worth every penny.
It's worth every penny. So make sure you pay him at least $30 million a week, because I don't want to work next weekend. That's a good call. I'm trying to think. Where is Martinez up on the scale of? Where is that in relation to Livermore?
It's further up the 680 corridor.
Okay.
So it's on the other side of the Carquinez Strait. It's not a bad area.
So $375 for a 1,800 square foot, basically zero lot line type of house. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that just shows you what's available, and you're also seeing, recently real big price appreciation in the East Bay and in the Bay Area.
Oh,
I mean, huge.
Yeah, I mean the Bay Area has been ridiculous, which I think is good. Because I don't live there. It's good, but also it's good if it does take people that are either selling there and they can move their money. They move their money out of the Bay Area. They come up this way.
That's right.
But it also we're seeing, like Bob's talking here, Livermore. It takes those that want to buy again, and when that market starts picking up, it starts pushing them back out. Toward Livermore, starts pushing them back over the hill a little bit and starts picking up. Why do you think Stockton took off? I mean, Stockton took off because it was close to the Bay Area, closer. So we mentioned before the break there. Wanted to what goes into the final price for a home. I mean, what is buried in there? Because I think it would shock people. I mentioned before the break, and if you think I was kidding, where I said I was called all sorts of foul things, and as being a land developer, you're just the criticism and the barbs that are thrown at you and all the things that come out at you, even by the county who's trying to approve your project. But the minute that project's approved, they're in love with you because they want
money,
fees, lots and lots of fees. What are you seeing is building? What are you seeing the counties and cities charging for fees? What is normal and what is
Yeah, no, I mean it's a really great question, and I just to put a capper on it. So I just came back from Washington D.C. and I was with a group of home builders there, and everyone's got their perspective from all over the country, and we talk about developing land and doing business in California. You're looking at a process that's 5 to 7 years from the minute that you go out and get that piece of land till you actually get it mapped and ready to put a house on it.
Right.
And so you've got the time that goes into that, the carry, the holding, all that along with that. And then there's the development impact fee exactions. And that world in the last 30 years has changed dramatically. Obviously, some of that deals with Proposition 13 and what that does for folks. But on the flip side, into a house, you're looking at anywhere from $70,000 to $90,000 a lot in a given community.
And the fees.
Yeah.
And that's the direct cost that the builder must pay or the developer must pay in to the city or county to pull the permit.
We call it a privilege.
Okay, but that doesn't include the cost. Because buried in there might be other fees or Mello-Roos fees and things that the cost of putting in the new school. If you're talking about big subdivision now, putting another schools in or putting nice caricatures along I-80 that you pay for. They call them sculptures, but I call them wastes of money. But these things get buried into the cost of ongoing ownership as well. So you have these one-time costs up front you're paying, and you have these ongoing expenses too.
Right.
And that's what I think has been the real killer. Like you take Lincoln for example. Mm-hmm. In Lincoln, when you initially look at a Lincoln, whether it's a new home now, I'm not sure if there's any new homes in Lincoln, but the resale homes, you look at this house and they're fairly new, they're fairly good size, and they're nice houses, and you look at the price and you go, wow, that's a really attractive price for the house. But if you're not dealing with a good realtor, what you have to find out the next step is you have to look at the taxes that go along with that house and what's buried in there. They're called Mello-Roos fees and other sorts of assessments and associated fees. And they're the costs that go along with putting in all the new streets that were out there and putting in the new parks and putting in the new schools and all those things too. And what's had to have happened is that you still have to you got to look at the total cost of ownership of something, right? If I'll pay you $400,000 for your house, if the taxes are really, really small, my total cost of ownership is $400,000 plus the tax. Well, what's happened in Lincoln and other communities is, okay, I'll pay you $250,000 for the house, because I'm paying the equivalent of another $150,000 in these super high taxes every month as well. So you do have to kind of compare apples for apples when you're looking at these different places. And I use Lincoln all the time because people tell me, Jeff, did you see this deal out there? I go, yeah. Let me calculate for you the cost of ownership of that. The mortgage itself is not so bad. The homeowner's insurance, not so bad. The taxes and the fees, pretty high.
Yeah.
You know, not your 1 and 1 1/4, maybe 2 3/4, you know, of a percent. It's higher numbers. So you got to factor those items in there too. So whether you pay it up front or you pay it at some point along on some of the newer stuff, you got to pay those fees, but it can be very, very pricey.
It is. You know, the good news is about those assessment districts they do have a shelf life. I mean, they do dissipate at some point in time. And so, you know, you've got to come up with some, you know, way to pay for all those fees or all those improvements that you're making in the community. And so traditionally having the user pay for it seems like a pretty good idea, but you're right. I mean, it is a cost variable and you do have to measure that.
Well, I think you get what you pay for, right? So I grew up in the Carmichael area. I went to Mariloma High School. Okay, now if I drive by that area and look at Mariloma High School today, it does not look like Granite Bay High School where my daughters go. Okay, and the reason being is that in the newer communities, the people that are moving in those communities are footing the bill for the new infrastructure, and and in large part the reason they're moving out there is they want the newer, the nicer schools, and so they're footing the bill. And so why doesn't Mariloma High School and El Camino High School and the old La Sierra, why aren't they being remodeled? Because there is no money coming in to foot those bills. There's nothing built into the tax basis. So that community, and so you'll see different communities start to ask themselves, do we want to incorporate? Arden Arcade went through this. You know, do we want to become our own little city?
Right.
And by doing that, we could then change our tax structure and say, you know what, we don't want these old schools, and we want to create something new. So that's, you start looking around and saying, well, I like to live in these mature communities because they have nice big trees and the communities there and the tax basis is low. Yeah, that's awesome. The Fab 40s does very, very well. Okay, the Fab 40s does very, very well, and they didn't have a lot of price decline, but you get what you get. You know, you get the older streets, you get the older schools, you get that. It comes with that, and so that's the beauty about about our country, right? You want to live there, go live there. But if you're looking for something that has the new libraries and all the new amenities that go with it, and the bigger parks and all the different things that go on and are newer, that's the cost of being in there. And so that's built into your cost of home ownership, and that's one of those things you have to kind of factor in when you're buying and building. So what are you guys? Let's talk about locally now. We talked about before the show started today. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it right. I said RCH Group, which was another group, but Homes by Town
that's our home building.
Is your home building your home building entity? So you guys are looking at. You mentioned Lake of the Pines, which I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah. We're very excited about that.
So give us an example of where you see things going. What are you guys doing up in? And for those of you who don't know where Lake of the Pines is, it's just literally across the Bear River. Up Highway 49. It sounds like it's way out there, but Highway 49 is a four road 95-mile-an-hour road now. You can get there pretty damn quick if you want to. So what's going on there? Give us an example of what you guys are looking at up there.
Yeah, so we were real fortunate to find a piece of property up there that's just at the edge of Lake of the Pines, and we're looking at starting construction this year on 84 single-family homes right at the entrance of Lake of the Pines. We think it's a great market. It's a little bit of a niche market. So we have properties in Sacramento. We have properties in Placer County, South Sacramento, and also up in the Reno, Nevada area. This piece in particular, we just think there's a great market for it. As you mentioned, it is close into Roseville. It is close into employment centers, and we just think that the community is a great place to be. So we were fortunate enough to find this property, and we're looking at starting some houses up there, 2,000, 3,000 square foot houses on a generous lot, 10,000 square foot lot.
Yeah, so that'll be nice. And then and you guys are always. I always look at home builders and figure that you guys are always looking 2 years out or more than the rest of us. So when like the first house you think will be, the models will go up next year after? What do you think?
Right now we're on a train to get there for February, March. We like to build in the rain. Don't ask me why. It just sort of works that way.
Okay.
So we're looking at having our models starting to go up then, and then hopefully having a sales office open spring of 2013.
So a 10,000 foot lot, 2,500 square foot house, Nevada County. If you ask me, because I still think in the old days, because a lot of Nevada County stuff is 2 acres to 5 acres, I would say you're going to be in the $500,000 price range. But you guys, what is your price point? You think?
Yeah, we're going to probably be between the mid 2s to the mid 3s.
Yeah, so that's a really attractive.
No HOA.
Yeah, no HOA. Yeah,
No HOA.
really attractive. So you're in the rolling foothills. You're above the fogs. You're just above Auburn a little bit.
Yeah.
But I like that because you're not down. Is that Combi Road that comes off there?
It's off of 49 and Combi.
Yeah, so you're easy to get to, but when you get up there, it is kind of like stepping back into the country feel a little bit, and yet there's a nice shopping center there. There's all the amenities you've got right there. I think that's going to be a really attractive price point. Very attractive.
So can I count you in for one?
Oh, I might take two, but I want a Benihana kitchen, and I want a view.
Hey, if you have money, I heard we can build it for you. So.
I need to sell you that subdivision down there in Martinez first. Maybe we'll trade out my commission for a house. So we're down to 1 minute. Jeff, off the text line from the 209, Livermore is not the East Bay. Do you see any water around Livermore? Okay, that was my. I call anything not in Sacramento the East Bay. So way too far of a commute to San Francisco. It's more like the Valley. Okay. And the 209 didn't think small lots down there was a good idea. So anyway, that's it. Jeff, I appreciate it very much. Homes by Town, TOWNE. If you're looking for one of their projects coming up, they're all over the area. So, Jeff, thanks so much for coming in on a Saturday. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for having me.
Maybe we'll come out and do a live show from your subdivision when you get open there.
You're on.
If I'm still doing this gig. I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe, I sleep in on Saturdays. I'm not sure. I got to work that out. That's it. You can find me on my Facebook page. There's a Talkin Money Facebook page at JeffTarbell.com. Mortgage rates were phenomenal still. We can talk about that during the week at 338-9400. That's it. I got a whole bunch of stuff I didn't cover, so we'll see you next week, everybody. Aloha for real this time. Adios.
Talkin' Money.